Welcome into the ring here at the Sumalee Muay Thai and Yoga Resort in Phuket. Hope we find you safe and well during what's been an incredibly trying couple of years for everyone. Hopefully, we're emerging with a brighter future out the other side of it. And speaking about a bright future, an incredible story told in this new book here, Fighting for Success, written by none other than the proprietor here at the Sumalee Muay Thai and Yoga Resort, Dr. Lynne Miller, who is alongside me now. So, shall I call you Doctor or Lynne?
You can call me Lynne.
I shall call you Lynne. I don't think I've ever interviewed a doctor before, Lynne, but it's wonderful to be here. And of course, the first question everybody asks when you've written your first book is, why did you feel compelled to write the book, and why write it now?
Okay, so I felt compelled to write it because almost everybody that comes to Sumalee asks the question, why did someone like you get involved in a business like this? And as you will have found from the book, it's a long story. So rather than telling that story over and over again in verbal form, I thought I would write it in a book. And obviously this period of COVID has given me the time to do it. Not only that, an underlying reason was to use the book as a means to try to raise funds to keep Sumalee open during this very difficult period.
And that's interesting when you come at it from a business angle, because of course the harsh reality about COVID, not just in Phuket, everywhere in the world, and particularly a business that focuses on tourism, survival becomes key. But the book goes into so much more than that. It touches on not just setting up a Muay Thai business in Thailand, and as it became a yoga and a wellness resort as well, but business in general. And it's something that appeals to many people, doesn't it? Coming out here to paradise and investing in something that can build you a future where the weather's always lovely, and of course you can enjoy the Thai culture. And what I found from reading the book, and I did read it, and I can say I enjoyed it. It's not one of those things where you pretend to enjoy the book or read a film or watch a film when you're interviewing someone. I genuinely did find it fascinating, and it touches on, you know, the pros and, we have to say, cons that can sometimes come with setting up a project like this. And I suppose it was crucial when you were writing it that you touched on every area. Yeah,
and I have to say it's probably been one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my life, and it hasn't been easy, and there are lots of pitfalls, lots of difficulties, lots of challenges, of course, not least of which is the language, not understanding the system, a completely different business culture. So yeah, it's definitely not an easy thing to do, and frankly, it would have been nice to have a book like this to have guided me along the process of, you know, some of the do's and some of the don'ts in setting the business up. And the other thing I will say, for anybody's considering doing it, think about it very carefully and do a lot of calculations on, you know, how this is going to work. Don't just think, oh, this is a great idea. Think very carefully about, you know, the situation, the ebbs and flows of the tourists. If things like COVID happen, what would you do in those circumstances? You need to, you know, be very resourceful, I think, is the best way of describing what you need to come into a situation like this.
And not approach it as an extended holiday.
Absolutely, basically. Yeah.
So, I mean, the USP of both yourself and the book, in fairness, if I was in Las Vegas and we were in a boxing ring rather than a Muay Thai ring, and I was interviewing Don King or Bob Arum or Shelley Finkel or one of those characters, or Frank Warren or Eddie and Barry Hearn in the UK, people wouldn't raise an eyebrow. But here I am with Dr. Lynne Miller, a lady that should be, I suppose, maybe contemplating where you're going to spend your twilight years, shall I say, to put a polite term on it. But here you are, as a figurehead, and a very successful one at that, of not just a male-dominated industry, but a Thai-dominated industry. And the journey's obviously outlined here, but I think you should maybe give people a flavour of the abbreviated journey of just how you came, Dr. Lynne Miller, to be sitting in this ring talking to me about your book involving a life of Muay Thai.
Well, as with most people who start a business in Thailand, it started with a holiday. Of course it did. And like many people that visit Thailand, it's very beguiling, it's very appealing, it has an air of being incredibly relaxed, an enviable lifestyle. And so that's how it started. But if you do want to come here and if you need to carve out a means of earning a living, then you have to work out a way of doing it. And most of what happened in my journey was by chance. And I certainly didn't start off thinking I'm going to go to Thailand and I'm going to open a Muay Thai boxing gym. It would have been very far from my imagination. So for us, it started with a chance meeting. I'd always been interested in the Muay Thai. I'd always found it quite fascinating. I was interested in the backstory of the fighters, who I consider to be incredibly brave, because it's a very, very brutal martial art.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, it's very brutal, and you need something very special to be a successful Muay Thai fighter, and I was always fascinated by that. And so it started with a chance meeting, and when my daughter and I went to the boxing stadium, as we frequently did, we met a fighter whose name is Decalon. And so the start of the actual Muay Thai part of the journey was in helping Decalon to revive his somewhat fading career as it was at that time. So that's how the journey started.
But it's fascinating. 38 years since you first set foot in the land of smiles in Bangkok.
Is it that long?
It is 38 years. I've read the book and I've done the maths.
Is it that long?
And then obviously transitioning from a vacation in Bangkok and Pattaya to coming to Phuket. I know from reading the book, and again, this might surprise some people, your initial sort of long-term commitment to Thailand, if you like, was being involved in the Marriott Holiday Club, and that's something some people are rather cynical about, but you've gone from that to this position now.
Absolutely, and I remember when we invested in it, at the time there were some friends that, what are you doing that for? You'll end up losing your money, it will be, it'll be a waste, it'll be this, it'll be that. But actually it changed the complete course of not only my life, but the life of my children as well. So if measured in terms of what it's given us in terms of enriching our life, or leading us onto a path of an enriched life and lifestyle, it was worth its weight in gold, that initial investment.
It's interesting you've mentioned the children. I'll mention them by name, Lynne's son Sam and her daughter Rhian. You dedicated the book to them, and they've obviously also been an integral part of the growth from scratch of what you have here now at the Sumalee. And, if you don't know, I know obviously there's a substantial social media following for the Sumalee across their YouTube page. But if you haven't visited before, I recommend checking out the website, because, as you say, it's gone from just Muay Thai training to incredible accommodations, yoga, wellness, a vegan cafe as well. It's even made me try vegan food for the first time, I must say. So were they integral in the build of that? Because I think they both were intrinsically linked to the business.
Yeah. I mean, Rhian was very much involved in the startup of the business from the beginning. Sam at the time was in university in the UK, and he, after he finished his first degree, he came out here and decided that actually he should have done nutrition. He did sound technology and digital music, and he decided he should have done nutrition. And that was a result of being here and working with the fighters and helping the fighters. And he and Rhian together, they were the ones that started the nutrition side of the business. And then Sam went off to work in Hong Kong, and Rhian stayed here and developed that into what we have now.
Anyone that's been to Phuket over recent years will have heard, excuse the bike just going past, well, you can't miss it, can you, when you're walking in Patong and you hear that truck going around advertising the Muay Thai. I'd love to have the copyright and the royalties that are associated with that Bangla Boxing Stadium tonight. So it's always been here and prevalent, but it's really progressed over the last decade to be, a commercial tourism opportunity as well, with people not just going to watch it having had a few alcoholic drinks inside them, but using it as a means of getting fit and, as you demonstrate here, getting well.
Yeah, and I think that's really where we've come in and where we've been able to benefit from that side of the market, because when I first became involved in the business, Muay Thai at that time, and that was only 12 years ago, was very much something that was primarily appealing to either established or aspiring fighters. But there was this whole other market that wasn't really being explored, and that was the recreational Muay Thai people who wanted to participate in the sport for the benefit of participating, and that's really where we've seen the huge growth in the last 10 to 12 years. Very much stimulated by smartphone ownership, social media. That's really been the driving force that's changed the whole nature of the business.
And talk about adapting with the times. I read in the book as well that you've gone obviously from your PhD to a postgraduate course in social media,
digital marketing,
the digital marketing side of it, which obviously for any business now is key. So the spiritual journey of Lynne, from just walking off the street to watch a Muay Thai fight to actually opening up a business that focuses around the sport and all the other aspects of wellness, is featured in here, and it's a must-read for anyone that's interested in that side of things. But again, the wider audience of people, and I'm sure post-COVID, a lot of people will be thinking, well, it's time to almost start afresh, a brand new beginning, when travel, and we're getting there slowly but surely, is possible on a long-term basis again. You can translate those Muay Thai specifics in business to any facet, whether people are thinking of opening a jet ski shop or a restaurant or a bar or a hotel even. What would you say, and I don't want to give away too much that's in the book, what would you say is the main positive and negative about doing business in Thailand?
So the main positive is that if you can make it successful, it results in a very comfortable and enviable lifestyle. When you wake up in the morning and on 80% of those days the sun is shining, that makes a lot of difference to how you feel about the day, and it's generally a very kind of relaxed environment to work with. Thai people are very amenable to work with once you figure out how best to work with them, and I mean that takes a while, but once you figure it out, it can be a very satisfying experience. The main downside is there are quite a few. It is a challenge. Understanding how business works here, understanding how to get the best out of what there is available. And if you're in a tourism business, working with the devastating effects, because this is not the first time this is the worst. The COVID pandemic is the worst, but in Asia in particular, there have been a series of things that have affected tourism businesses, such as the tsunami, such as avian bird flu, such as the financial crisis 2008, 2009. So this is not the first time, and you have to be prepared for that.
Well, that brings me nicely on to the last question I want to ask you. It's certainly been enlightening. Don't forget the book, Fighting for Success by Dr. Lynne Miller. The future, because you've mentioned those previous more than bumps in the road, real seismic changes that affected Southeast Asia. But the whole region, Thailand in particular, did brilliantly in their recovery from that. Here we are now, nigh on 2 years into this global crisis. Great that we are now welcoming tourists back to Phuket via the Sandbox scheme, which I myself am here via, and I can heartily recommend it. It's been executed brilliantly locally here in Phuket. Where do you see the future of tourism in Phuket in the coming months and hopefully beyond as we come out of this?
So, as you've correctly said, there has been a revival, and albeit it's a slow start at the moment, but the government is putting in place different measures to make it easier for people to come into Phuket, to come into Thailand. We ourselves have positioned ourselves well as far as that is concerned, because and it's a great credit to the Somali business that we've managed to get what we need to be able to receive sandbox visitors, to be able to offer them the safety and assurance that's required in order for businesses to be able to take sandbox visitors in. It will take time, and as you say, this is probably the hardest hit that any country's had, any tourist economy has had. So it's not going to be overnight, but I think it will happen. But we have to be adaptable. We have to do whatever we can to have the right things in place so that we're ready when opportunities arise for people to come in.
Well, having walked around here at the Sumalee Muay Thai and yoga and all-round wellness resort, I can see you're raring to go to welcome people back. If you're thinking of moving to Thailand post-pandemic, setting up a business, if you've got any interest in Muay Thai at all and looking to take it further, this book, Fighting for Success by Dr. Lynne Miller, is an absolute must, and let's hope for a brighter future. Lynn?
Thank you very much, Patrick.
Thank you very much.